Hello and welcome back to The Finish Line. I'm your host, Andrew Halligan. As always, I'm joined by Tom. This week again, we are joined by another huge jumping yard and the champion trainer's assistant in Ditcheat, Harry Derham. How are we? Thanks for joining us this evening.
No, pleasure, lads. Good to be along, and thanks for liking. Tell you something half useful.
It'll be more than we say anyway.
I wouldn't like to be the judge of that.
A lot of other people are, and let's be honest, we're all right. We get started on, like, you've had an unbelievable start to the season between Chepstow and Newton Abbot over the weekend. I was literally just looking at your runners before we came on. You've had 20 runners, 9 winners, 6 seconds, and a third. That's an unreal strike rate, even for you. You must be delighted with that.
It was good, yeah, nice start. Paul, obviously, is it's well known now that Paul targets that Chepstow meeting to sort of start the jump season proper, really. We were fortunate in the sense that a lot of the horses we targeted there were good ground horses, and the ground came up good, and the horses performed really well. They looked fantastic, which was nice to see, because you put in a lot of work all summer, hoping that you have them in the right place, and they performed accordingly, which was obviously great.
Yeah, and one that I might actually touch on is one that I was like visually impressed by how we went around and how we got a job done was McFabulous. He looks like a big, huge, lovely horse. I don't know whether it's the big noseband he has on, but he just reminds me of Big Buck so much. Even the way it does, I know he's last season he was kind of slow to take the hurdles, and then his last 2 runs in the season he was very impressive. Has he improved that much over the summer, and would his main target for the whole season be the Stayers hurdle at Cheltenham?
Yeah, we had him fairly well handicapped last year, didn't we?
Yeah, he was absolutely chucked in and everything.
I'm only joking. He, to be honest with you, the first half of last season was a bit disappointing. He just didn't jump well enough at Chepstow and got beat by not a bad horse, but we were disappointed because he just didn't jump well enough. And then Ascot, he was all wrong and ran no sort of race at all. So after that, it was a bit of a rebuilding process. But his jumping started to improve, and then he ended up winning the EBF in good style. But we've always thought an awful lot of him. He's always looked like a very, very smart horse. Now Friday, to me, he should have done what he did. If he's going to be a top horse, then he should have. No disrespect at all to the other horses, but he should have beaten them in the way he did.
Yeah.
So we were pleased with him, but it's now going to be a case of stepping up into open company at Newbury and the long distance hurdle there, and that will tell us a lot more. I mean, Friday, he was, as you say, he was visually impressive, and he did everything you'd want from a seasonal debut. But it's like being a really good academy player. Then you get into the senior team, you've got to go and improve again, haven't you? So I think he is a very, very smart horse. For the time being, we're going to aim him for the Stayers hurdle at Cheltenham until he tells us he's not good enough. I just get nervous with the comparison of big bucks. A lot of people have said it, and I hate comparing horses like that, because frankly, if McFabulous was half as good as big bucks, you'd be absolutely delighted.
You're setting them up for a failure straight away.
You are. So I'm not going to go comparing him to any other horse. I think he's very, very smart in his own right. I've got a huge amount of belief in him. I think he'll stay 3 miles very well. And let's go and see how he progresses. He will, I always think the key to these horses is that they have to go and perform. We can talk about them until we're blue in the face, but if he was going to be a really smart horse this season, he had to go to Chepstow and win like that. He did. So let's go and see what he can do next.
Harry, it's Tom here. Just wanted to ask you about another one. Obviously, the ran at the weekend, Stormy Island. She's part of the Sullivan contingent that have come over to you from Willie Mullins. I'm sure it's a bit of a daunting task when you get told you're getting sent over a lorry load of horses coming from Willie Mullins. But how as a rule, like, you guys train up a hill, Willie trains on a flat gallop. How have they settled in? I thought she ran well yesterday to be second. Are you happy with them all?
Yeah, they took a bit of time to settle in, as would any horse from a different yard. You know, it's a huge adjustment going from one yard to another. Different feed, different gallop, as you say. You know, different way of doing things. Loads of different things they had to deal with. So they did take a little while to settle. I was absolutely thrilled with Stormy yesterday, as was Paul, just because of how much she will improve. She wasn't by any means hard fit. Obviously, you know, sadly there's no crowd at the race at the moment, but if people had saw her, they'd have seen that. You know, there was plenty to work on yesterday. And the thing that pleased me the most was Harry got off her and said, you know, she'll win loads of mares novice chases. So we were very happy. There is an awful lot to come from her. We've not had them all, you know, a desperately long time, but I thought that was a good start. And if the others fare as well as she did first time out, then we'll be very happy.
And there's another one there, Harry, that ran yesterday. Napa's Hill in the bumper. I thought it was very impressive. Or at the weekend, sorry. 155,000 euro purchase from the Land Rover sale. He looked very good.
Nice horse. To be honest with you, lads, I'd say it wasn't much of a race. It sort of fell apart. There were plenty of non-runners. They went an ordinary gallop, and he just hacked round, just quickened up the straight. Didn't teach us a lot about him, other than he can run fast with colours on, just like he runs fast at home. But he is a really nice horse. He won't go jumping until next season. He'll probably have a little run. Well, probably 2 or 3 more runs this season in bumpers. But you won't see the best of him until he goes novice hurdling next season, where he's already, you know, you could run him in a novice hurdle tomorrow if you wanted to. His jumping's very good. But yeah, just one of a number of really, really nice young horses, and it was nice to get him out on the track. And you know, I mean, look, he's had nothing more than a race course gallop. I'm sure the next time he goes to the races will be much more difficult. But he's a nice type, and hopefully, you know, whatever he does in bumpers, I mean, if he goes and wins a couple more, then that would be great. But he will win plenty of races over obstacles.
With a horse like that, Harry, like, his future definitely looks like it is over obstacles. Would you thinking of the champion bumper with him at Cheltenham, or would you try and sidestep a race like that at this early stage of his career?
I'd say, to be honest, it would be the last place we'd go.
Yeah.
Paul absolutely hates the race.
It's not the only one.
I can't imagine he would pitch up there now. But look, we've won the Aintree bumper a few times with a couple of nice horses, and he's not against running there. There's a nice bumper at Ascot over Christmas. There's couple of lovely Newbury bumpers. I mean, Cheltenham, we ran a horse called Ask for Glory 2 years back, and it took him all season last year to recover. We only ran him twice. So I very much hope that any of our bumper horses don't go there.
I'd agree. I'm not a huge fan of that race at all myself. It either makes a horse or breaks a horse.
Yeah, I think if you have an absolute champion, I mean, Al Farah finished second in it many years ago, and he won a Supreme Novice, and he was second in an Arkle, and you know, if you've got a champion, then obviously they're champions, so they're fine. But I think it can be an awfully hard race for a nice young horse, you know, and it can take them a long time to get over it. Now, look, other trainers do really well in it, and that's great. But Paul's approach is always, if you're gonna have a horse that you want to be a 150, 160, 170 rated chaser, then there's no point in killing them in bumpers.
Exactly. One that also ran the weekend that I thought was visually impressive, Hell Red, but there's another thing I actually want to touch on with him as well. Am I mistaken in saying you have the horse that beat him in France as well?
No, you're absolutely right. We do. He's called Montmoral.
Well, how bloody good is he then?
Well, it's difficult to take that form literally, I would suggest, because Hell Red has since had a long summer. he's developed. He's probably a lot stronger. Do you know what I mean? So, we had a horse. We had a horse once that in France that beat Vautour. Now this horse, 18 months later, he wouldn't have been able to take Vautour to the start, let alone beat him. So in an early stage in a horse's career, it's difficult to judge them. Montmoral is a lovely horse. I do not think he's as hardy a type as Hellred in the sense that he won't run as much this season.
Yeah.
But Hellred is a lovely, lovely animal. He's very straightforward, a lovely jumper. He will be best on a bit of slower ground. And I think, the first half of the season, big target will be the Grade 1 finale hurdle at Chepstow on Welsh National Day.
I just want to touch on another one I actually ran at Chepstow. He's kind of close to your heart, a secret investor. He's kind of in a hard place of his placement now. Would he be at this stage of his career? He's kind of high up in the handicap. Is he kind of a Grade 1 horse getting there, or is he? What would kind of the plan for him going forward?
Well, first of all, horse is an absolute legend, so that's why he's one of my favourites. He's just a complete dude of a horse. I don't know whether you guys are like the betting side of things more, or the horse side of things more. I don't know, but from a person that sees the horse every day, he is just an absolute gentleman. That's why I'm extremely fond of him.
Yeah.
But he's a really good solid horse. Is he a Grade 1 horse? No. He's run in some graded races. I think he's a Grade 2 winner over hurdles and a Grade 2 winner over fences. The sad fact of the matter is that on soft ground, I'd probably beat him. But on good ground, he's a really, really decent horse. I was absolutely he was the only horse this season I've backed, just because on good ground he's a really, really solid horse. Where we go with him next, I don't know. He could go to Ascot in 3 weeks' time. There's a handicap there with 3 miles, but he does like to be fresh, so that might come a bit soon. The answer is he'd have to go where the ground is for him. On soft ground he's bloody hopeless. But I was absolutely thrilled to see him win, and he's just a really, really lovely horse, and he's owned by a great couple, Clive and Jane Hitchens, and they've had a lot of fun with him over the years. And he'd been an absolute joy to own. He's won some nice races, given them lots of fun, and he's just at the back of it. He's a complete legend of a horse. So that's why I like him. It
sounds like when he retires, he'll have no problem having a place to stay after racing.
I would say I'd say he'd have a queue. I'd say he'd have a queue. You could have him in your front room. He is just an absolute gentleman. A lovely, lovely horse to have around the yard. He's in front yard. He's in box 8, and as it happens, he lives next to Topofthegame, and they're the first as you drive into the yard. They're the first 2 horses you see in the morning, and he's just a smashing horse.
Just since you touched on Topofthegame there, if people who listen now might know why he was out last season, what was the actual injury that kept him out for the whole season, and how has he recovered from it?
He basically just had a touch of a leg, which is a tendon injury. Yeah. He basically, leg injuries are done in percentage. It was a very small percent, but it's always like being a little bit pregnant. You have a leg or you don't have a leg. You can't be a little bit pregnant, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that's the best analogy I've ever heard.
I say, isn't that right, Andrew?
No more kids for me, Tom. Let's do that for another show, Tom.
Yeah, so he had a touch of a leg, and so we just had to stop with him. The horse like that, you obviously can't take any chances. It's been a long road back, and I'm not even going to pretend he's not a very fragile horse, because he is. At the moment, touching all wood, and if there's any wood around you lads, please touch it as well. He's on track for the Ladbroke Trophy at Newbury. That will be his first start, and that will tell us where we go after that.
And one of the lads that's on the podcast as well now is literally in love with Topofthegame. So I'd say now he will sleep in the woods and have trees on top of him just to get him there. He's convinced that he's an absolute superstar.
Yeah, look, his RSA form reads quite well now, doesn't it? He's there's no doubt about it that he's a very good horse. Paul's biggest job is just getting him to the racecourse and getting him there in peak condition. When he's on song, he is clearly very, very good.
Was he fragile when he was younger, Harry?
Say again. Was
he fragile when he was a bit younger?
Yeah, he. To be honest with you, he's never been particularly easy. It's probably because he's absolutely massive. There's just a lot of him that can go wrong, and he's not raced that much in his life. He's not a robust horse, but he is a very, very high class horse. So we'll just have to try and get him there, and if we can, then hopefully he'll be able to show everyone how good he is. So
more or less just be Ladbrokes, see how it goes, make sure he's all okay, plan the next race, make sure he gets out of that race, and maybe Cheltenham.
Yeah, look, there's no secret. The dream, the hope, the ambition is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. But if he doesn't run very, very well in the Ladbroke Trophy, then he has no business being in the Gold Cup, does he? So he has to go out there and he has to run and jump and do everything well and have a good result, and then we can plan the rest of the season. But make no mistake, we are obviously dreaming and training him and hoping that he will line up in a Gold Cup.
At least now the dream is still alive, as they say.
At this stage, the dream is alive, so we just have to pray that everything keeps going the way it is,
Talking of Gold Cup horses, Harry, one that probably is maybe showing that he isn't a Gold Cup horse, but he's a very, very good horse at Kempton on Boxing Day, is Des Obeaux. I presume all roads lead back to Kempton for him.
Yeah, he's just gutting he hates Cheltenham, isn't it? I mean, he's such a good horse, and round Cheltenham, I mean, God, he's rubbish, isn't he? So it's a shame. All roads, as you said, lead to Kempton. He's going to run in the Betfair Chase. All being well, he looks absolutely fantastic. We sort of forget because he's been around a long time. He's only 8.
Yeah, he's still very young.
Yeah, he's not an old horse, but he seems in great condition. He's a fabulous looking horse. He will run in the Betfair Chase with a view to then going to Kempton, which he seems to be very, very effective around Kempton. So the obvious aim is there, and hopefully in a more normal world, we'd love to get him to Punchestown in the spring, because a right-handed big galloping track like that we'd like to think would suit him quite well. So hopefully later in the year we might end up over in Punchestown. That would be quite fun.
Well, I will be sneaking into Punchestown that day to see it.
Another.
Where were we? Right. Just while we're talking about Cheltenham there, I think one of your most underestimated horses in your yard, and I don't get it because he's been placed in champion chases and he's just had to win the champion chase, is Politologue. All roads to Cheltenham again. What will he take in the meantime? Will he stay over 2 miles? Will he throw him over 2-4 for a few races before that?
I would imagine Politologue will go straight to the Tingle Creek. I would be surprised if he did much racing at all this season. We've sort of learned that he's best fresh. So I would imagine Tingle Creek, and then all roads will lead to Cheltenham. He's been a fabulous horse for us, and the Hales family. He's won 3 Grade 1s. He's a real solid performer. He's had his little issues, but Cheltenham was a magnificent day. I mean, it'll be the champion chase remembered because Shaq Campos didn't run, and neither did Arthur, and Deffy just all didn't perform. But
Deffy did now. Deffy's just bad. Let's be honest.
Gosh, that's a controversial statement.
I got some stick over that all over Cheltenham. I said he wouldn't place in champion chase, and this was the Altior, and Shaqan's still in it.
But Politologue is a really, really solid horse. He's not getting any younger, but he there's no reason why he can't go and run one of those really good races this season. He looks magnificent at the moment. After having him 5 years, we've sort of worked out how to train him, which is a good job on our part. and hopefully he'll go to Tingle Creek and show how good he still is.
He seemed to absolutely love it out in front. Will you be kind of obviously probably keep to the same kind of tactics, or is that the way you want to go ahead with riding them now, seeing that they absolutely destroyed the champion chase field doing that?
Yeah, the reason we did that in the champion chase was because sort of all of a sudden there weren't many runners. He's won from the front before. He was really, really fresh. And we just said to Harry, just go out there and let him just jump and gallop. So yeah, look, I can't imagine we'll deviate too much from that in the future. I mean, he stays 2 miles very, very well. He's a touching all wood. He's an accurate jumper. You know, he doesn't waste any time. He's very economical. So yeah, I would imagine we'll just try and get him absolutely spot on for the Tingle Creek and pop him out and have a good go.
Catch me if you can.
You've some fabulous traces, Harry. It's only when we go through them like this that you really take it for granted sometimes. But Surname, he got an awful fall at Ascot. It was so good to see him get up from that. How is he doing? Has he recovered fully?
Surname is really well. We were actually just discussing it this evening. We'd like him to go to Down Royal, but whether it's going to be possible or not, I do not know. So plans are a bit up in the air. Surname's good. Last year, I think the race that everybody wanted to see sort of took it out of him a bit, didn't it? Because he wasn't himself after that, and Altio had his issues as well. So I've got no doubt when Surname is at his best, he is an absolutely magnificent horse. And there's no reason to suggest he's not like that now. He's in really good nick. He's training well. He looks very well. Scott, who rides him, is happy. So yeah, we'd like to go to Down Royal, but whether it's going to be possible or not, I do not know.
Would you? If that doesn't happen, would you be tempted to have another crack at the King George with him?
I don't know is the answer. The main reason being, we obviously tried 3 miles last year and people said he didn't stay or whatever. He may well not stay. However, Harry said he was beating us jumping too. So we wanted to go to Down Royal with him absolutely spot on and find out once and for all, does he stay? So if that doesn't happen, I don't quite know where he'll go or what he'll do. But no, I certainly wouldn't rule him out lining up in the King George again. That's for sure.
Just on another horse that has had a lot of problems, but when she was in the care of Willie Mullins, is Laurina. I see that Paul said her main target this year will be the Mayor's Chase at Shetland this year. She settled in well. I seen her schooling there last week. She seems well in herself. She's showing you all the right signs.
Yeah, she seems very well. Obviously, I can't tell you whether she's better or worse or the same as last season because I don't know her. She's holding her condition well. She looks very good. Her training seems, stupid thing to say. She looks like a good horse. Well, she is one. So,
yeah.
She's looked really good. She had a jump, as you said, the other day, and Harry was delighted with her. So at the moment, she's doing everything right. The obvious test will be when she gets onto a race course, can she get back to her best?
She anywhere near that at this stage?
She I think that the tentative target is Ascot at the end of this month in a 2 mile 3 grade 2 hurdle. So that's our plan. As I say, she looks in good nick, but I couldn't tell you whether she's flying or whether she's not because we have nothing to judge her on.
She's a bit of an enigma, really, isn't she? She's either going to bolt up or pull up.
Yeah, it does seem a bit like that, doesn't it? But all we can do is prepare her the best that we think we can, and then she'll either run fast or she won't.
That's true. Like one of the lads that listens to us religiously is probably her number one fan, and that will be music to his ears.
Say again.
One of our followers, he's probably Laurina's number one fan, and everything you said there will be absolutely music to his ears.
Good. Well, I did. I think I saw a tweet saying someone said, "Never mind Surname or something." I want you to talk about Laurina non-stop. So I hope
that's him.
Is satisfied with talking about it. Laurina is fine. Laurina is fine. I hope for his sake that she comes back to somewhere like her best.
We're going to ask you for a dark horse shortly, Harry, for the season, but the dark horse that is fastly becoming not a dark horse for the Paul Nicholls team from every tipster is Greaneteen.
I'm struggling again, lads. I'm struggling to hear you again.
Oh, we're just going to touch on Greaneteen, Harry, if you can hear me. He ran a nice race at Cheltenham.
Greaneteen?
Yeah.
Yeah, Greaneteen is in good nick. Greaneteen will probably run in the Holden Gold Cup at Exeter to start the season. Took to chasing very, very well last season. Ran a good race in the Grand National. Just got stuck a little bit turning in at vital time. I'm not saying he'd have won or anything like that. Just it was annoying at the time. But he's a smart horse. It wouldn't just shock me if he's improved a fraction. He loves jumping fences. He's a strong traveller. I love seeing horses travel the way he does when he jumps fences. And I would like to think that he will need to improve, but he wouldn't need to improve miles to just be on the verge of being able to run in one of those really good Grade 1 chases. So he's a smart horse, as I say. His fencing is without doubt his biggest asset. So fingers crossed, he's very much a horse to look forward to. And as I say, he's going to get extra for the Holden Gold Cup, and that will tell us then whether we're barking up the right tree, whether we need to go into, maybe a Tingle Creek or a Desert Oak or something, or whether we need to go handicapping.
Well, just talking on there, one that I've taken to my heart off last season is Trucker's Lodge. I just love this lad. He's puts his heart on his sleeve and just keeps galloping and galloping and galloping. I take it there'll be redemption mission at Chepstow this season with him, will there?
Yeah. Do you know, we're a bit up in the air with him, because if you're going to run in a Grand National, you sort of have to plan your year around it. So we're not 1,000,000% sure what we're going to do with it yet. I would imagine the first half of this season will be aimed around a crack at the Welsh National. He's quite ground dependent in that, the softer it is for him, better.
Yeah.
Life is going to be difficult for him because he went up a stone for his Utox to win, which I thought was, look, he won well, but he had no weight on his back, and he was sort of the only horse galloping by the end of it. But he's a rock solid staying horse. As I say, he will have to improve a good bit. But he might just do that. He's not been over raced, and he's owned by Gordon and Sue Hall, who I would imagine would be sporting enough to have a crack at the National. So we'll just have to see how the first half of the season goes with him. But I would love to see him in a Grand National if the ground turned up slow one day. I think, I believe that he'll stay 4.5 miles. I'd have been a bit nervous about him jumping around 15 years ago, but I think he'd jump round now. So yeah, he's a good staying horse. He basically wants a marathon trip and really slow ground. And if you have those two things, he's a good animal.
Would you be tempted to give him a spin around Aintree before then?
Say again. Would
you be tempted to give him a spin around Aintree before then?
I can't imagine he will. The beach chase, he'd probably end up having to carry top weight.
Yeah.
And Paul is, there's quite a few horses that do it once brilliantly. They wouldn't be mad about doing it again.
Yeah.
So you'd hate to leave your Grand National in December.
Final one that I'm going to touch on with you is Solo. He was highly regarded going into the Triumph Hurdle, and he kind of ran no sort of race. Would it be the fact that he won the Donuts Hurdle very easily, and would that have taken much out of him winning like that? Or was it just the fact that he was in a new country and he just wasn't really settling in properly yet?
Well, I think first of all, he was in the process of getting beaten by a very, very, very good horse. And Harry said at Cheltenham he didn't feel like he came down the hill at all well. I also think he came over about Christmas time. Not an easy time to come over, in the sense that you're then having to train them quite hard to get them there ready. We trained him hard for Kempton. He obviously went and won very well there, and then you've only got 2 weeks to Cheltenham. So not the ideal prep for a championship race. To be honest with you, I'm not too worried what Solo did last year. I'm certainly not too worried what he does this year. When he goes chasing this time next season, I believe that he could make up into a Grade 1 horse. I think he's a very, very good animal. Again, we'd like to go to farms to them in November. Whether we'll be able to or not, I don't know.
Yeah, it's mad.
But there's a very valuable 4-year-old hurdle over there that we'd love to run him in. We'll stay hurdling this season, I would imagine. I don't think he'll have a very busy campaign. He is a very high class horse, and I cannot see it. I know trainers say it all the time, and it's so boring. But I think that he's going to be a considerably better horse when he's jumping fences. But Johnny, his owner, is a very, very patient man, and I can't imagine he'll jump fences this season.
He's one I'm really looking forward to when he goes over a fence, as you were just saying. He's a lovely looking horse. He looks, I know he's only a 4-year-old, but he looks every bit of chaser in the making.
Yeah, he's a beautiful, beautiful animal. If I was the human equivalent of him, I'd be absolutely made up, because he's a stunning horse. He actually came over as a colt, and there was a consideration for a while of keeping him entire and whether he might just become a national hunt sire.
Yeah.
But Johnny wanted to race him, and if he was going to race for a long time and race over fences, then he had to be cut.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a very happy trip for Solo. He went away thinking he was Jack the Lad, and he came back with no nuts. So I'd say he was pretty pissed off with us for a couple of weeks. But he's in good nick now, and hopefully he's a horse that we can look forward to over the next 3 or 4 years.
You're not the only one. I can't wait to see him over a fence.
And Harry,
you're right. That's where his future lies.
Just before we let you go, Harry, we just wanted to ask you about you and yourself. You've been assistant now to Paul for a number of years. Is there any desire to go training yourself?
So I've been assistant for 4.5 years now. Always joke that I did my first term and I got re-elected mainly because no bugger else campaigned for the job. No. Do I want to train? Yes. My dream is to train. I'm in no hurry to do it. I'm one of those people that really, really likes my job. I love what I do. I thoroughly enjoy being part of Paul's yard. he's the only man that's ever employed me. So I don't know a huge amount else, but I love working here. But yeah, one day I would love to train myself, and I hope I can one day. But as I say, I'm not in a great rush to do it. I'm working with him every day. I know how good he is at it, so I'm not in a mad rush to take him on.
The day you take him on,
maybe if he ever slows down a bit, then I might think about it then. But for the time being, I think taking him on would be harder work than it would be working for him. So I'll stay on his side for a bit.
Oh, like he's the right man to be under. Like he might as well has a conveyor belt of trainers that he's after making from standing next to him for many years. Like you had Dan Skelton, you had Harry Fry, the likes of that. Like it's only a matter of time for you take them all on.
Say it again.
I was just saying that he's had a more or less conveyor belt of building trainers. Like he had Harry Skelton, Harry Fry. You're probably next in line. It must be really good spending every day with him, learning from him.
Oh yeah, look, Harry and Dan have both gone on and done fantastically well, and they're two very, very good trainers in their own right. I'm still very good friends with Dan Skelton. I think the world of him. He taught me an awful lot, and I'll always have a great relationship with him and Gracie, his wife, and Harry, and they were always very good to me. But with him and Harry Fry being such good trainers, can you imagine being the assistant trainer at the left Ditcheat and couldn't bloody train? It'd be awful, wouldn't it? but he obviously, he's Paul is an absolute master. Even if Graham Rodway doesn't think so, he's a very, very good trainer. He is incredible in the sense that he gets a good horse, and they seem to be a good horse for a very long time. He never abuses them. He respects them, looks after them, and I would like to think I've learned how to do things properly in Ditcheat, because it gets drilled into you every day that if we're going to do something, we're going to do it right, and we're going to try our best to be the best at it. And whether that's training the horses on the gallops we have, or the standard of care we have for the horses, or anything, he is absolutely adamant that everything we do, we're going to do it to the absolute best of our ability. So I would like to think one day, if I do it, I won't make too much of a mess of it.
Look, if you end up being half the trainer that Paul is, you'll be a top class trainer in your own right.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, he's remarkable, really. I mean, God, if he never trained another winner again, he'd be one of the greatest trainers of all time in national terms. And he's still, I mean, I promise you, he gets as much of a kick out of winning a race now as he ever did. I think we finished second in a maiden hurdle there at Newton Abbot yesterday with a horse called Plagieu, who ran a lovely race, just got a bit tired. I mean, it was like we'd finished second in the Gold Cup. But that is what makes him the trainer he is. He is incredibly competitive. He's driven to the point of madness, and he is very, very good at what he does.
He's a bit better than very good now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but don't tell him, for God's sake.
Harry, just
we always have a joke. He always says, "Imagine how good I'd be if I had a decent assistant."
That's a bit harsh. Harry, just before we let you go, give us one or two dark horses that we haven't seen yet for the season that you think might make up into a good horse to follow.
Oh God, there's always a hospital pass at the end, isn't there?
That's Tom's fault. Tom asked me to ask you this, so blame him.
It can't go any worse than a couple of years ago, Harry.
Season. Gosh. Okay, right. I'll try and give you a couple in a couple of different categories. Start with a horse called Silver Forever. will run in a novice chase at some stage. She won 3 last season. She's well established. Racing fans will know her, but she missed the Jane. She was going to run in the Jane Seymour Grade 2 novice hurdle last year, and she missed it. She had a slight injury. I think she will be a really, really smart mare's novice chaser. Mm-hmm. I like her a lot, mainly because she does plenty of winning, which is what you want. I love a horse called Ask for Glory. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. He's not just the easiest to keep right. He's a little bit delicate, but I think he's got a big engine. I really do. I'm a big believer in him. Mm-hmm. 2 more. One is called Saint Sonnet, who finished 6th or 7th in the Marsh. He will run in the Paddy Power at Cheltenham, and I think he is very capable.
Beating around the bush, he chucked in.
Yeah, I think he's very capable, and I will give you one that you won't have heard of. It's a horse, Hacker de Class. He is a 3-year-old. He won a little juvenile hurdle for Francois Nicole. He's not over big. He is a proper handy juvenile type, but he jumps really nicely, and I'd like to think that he'll do well this season.
Perfect. On that note, Harry, really appreciate your time taken out this evening to talk to us, and best luck for the season ahead, and send on our best wishes to Paul as well.
I will do. Thanks, lads. Good to talk to you.
Cheers, Harry. Thanks very much.
Harry.
Cheers, boys. Bye-bye.